Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here to do. I'm here to joining me as always, Xavier Guerrero and Juicy Johnny J. Nice, Johnny Woodard, guys.
Hey now.
Hey guys, we got a great show for you with the lovely, the talented, the spiritual Amy Belair joins us again. It's always a pleasure to have her on. We're going to do deep dives into the Akashic records, energy, dimensions, all that stuff. You know, I hope you guys enjoy it because it was a banger of an episode. Always a pleasure. If you want to see me live, go to samtripoli.com. Check out the events page. We have Comedy Chaos is tonight, everybody. Comedy Chaos, 2 shows, 8 p.m. and 10:30. We got the best of the best are there. Go check that out. Tickets available again, samtripoli.com. Then July 28th. We have, I'm in Boise, Idaho, the 29th, Ventura, California, and then Connecticut on August 12th. Go to samtripoli.com for all the t-shirts you might want for the show, tinfoilhattshirts.com, or click the banner. We got brand new, it's all George Bush Death Cult, or the mystery shirt, which is our Unabomber t-shirt. Check that out. Great way to support the show. And then check out all of the premium content we have. I have 3 shows on rockfin.com. You get all them for $15. You're getting 5 episodes from me through Tinfoil Hat Zero and Conspiracy Social Club with Bryan Callen. Plus, we have an investment show on Patreon called Cash Daddies, patreon.com/Cash Daddies. Great way to get financial advice and make passive income money. Anything else, guys?
Check out the We Don't Smoke the Same Patreon. We just had Funk Freaks on. They were cool. They talked about the Fools Gone Wild, and they just kept it funky.
Yeah, we're still working our way through this 75-day challenge. If you want to join us, want to get fit, change your life, check out Broken Simulation.
Broken Sim, top 200 comedy show on Apple Podcasts, a show about nothing, the sports center of the apocalypse. Enjoy. All my shows are for free. You can go click at samtripoli.com and enjoy that. Please enjoy this episode with Amy Belair.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink.
All right, let's get into it. Let's very excited to have this guest back. She's one of my favorite people to talk to. A big part of my spiritual journey, and I want to kind of get into some more growth that I'm having. Please welcome to the show one of podcast favorite, Amy Belair. How are you, Amy?
I am doing great. It's such a pleasure and honor to talk to you today, Sam, and you, XG, and you, Johnny. It's great to be with you guys.
Don't worry about the interns. They're fine.
It gets funnier every time.
Okay, thank you. I got a laugh out of her, and that's all that really matters, okay? Very, very excited to talk to you. Thank you for coming on. We've been trying to get this to happen, so the stars aligned, and here we are, very excited. So, Amy, for those who may not be familiar with you from our last discussions, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our guests can where our listeners can find you?
Yeah. So in it, I guess the nutshell, succinct explanation of me and what I do is I host a podcast called Third Eye Awakening. It's about spiritual awakening, but it's also about multiple dimensions. I bring through a bunch of information that I channel through the Akashic records. And that's mostly how I work with people. I love teaching. I have a teacher archetype. So I love to talk to people about the ultimate nature of reality, manifestation and conscious creation, the way that, the expansiveness of our soul and how it affects us in our lives here on earth through the Akashic records and all that kind of stuff that some people would call woo-woo. To me, it feels totally grounded and normal at this point, but I think for a lot of people, it's very fringe kind of material.
We have been having a lot of talk on the woo-woo. Had a lot of Christians on talking about the woo-woo. I still have woo-woo in me that I enjoy. I'm trying to find this nice blend between, Jesus and the woo woo, but I like the woo woo, man. I'm still into the woo woo. And so I'm very excited to talk to you about it. I am in spiritual growth. I think I'm going to take a JKD or Jean Kundo or MMA view of spirituality. I am going to be doing some Bible reading, but I am very much in to the discussion of just dimensions and energy because I just have felt it in my real life. So I just want to get into this with you. So where do you want to start, Amy?
Well, first of all, just with what you just mentioned, because I'm likewise on an interesting journey of understanding Jesus and the Bible. I am currently on Second Chronicles in the Old Testament. I'm working through it because I do believe that there's a lot of truth in the Bible, and I would not call myself a Christian. Like I don't adhere to a specific religion, but I think that there's a lot of important stuff there. And I think there's a lot of multidimensional shit happening in the Bible, basically. So I mean, we could talk about that.
I love it. And I'm open-minded to all of it. And it's just this journey I'm on because I want to hear from everybody and find out what they all agree on and what they don't agree on and what resonates with me. And I have a good friend of mine, Tony Dorado. He's been on this show before and he's been on my premium content. And he's like, there's no interpretation of the Bible. He didn't say it mean like that, but in a discussion. But I don't know, man. The only thing that's got me through everything that I do is that I have listened to my spirit and what it tells me and what resonates with me and what gravitates to me and what doesn't gravitate to me. And to that, this place is a lot more interesting than a lot of people want to believe of any discipline and any thoughts. And so I'm open-minded to it all. I'm just somebody on a voyage through this experience to try to understand. I find that there's a lot of important philosophers out there. I think Jesus is very important, but I also believe that there's a lot of information out there that I can't just dismiss because it resonates with me. So that's where we are right now. So I appreciate that from you. And again, I love everything you talk about. I would say you're a big part of my awakening, and our earlier conversations have really resonate with me. So I'm very excited to have you back. We just had Jay Dyer on 2 episodes ago, and he was talking about here we are, then there's space, and then there's heaven, and I go, are part of me is are these different dimensions? Are these different things and stuff like that? So let's get into like what your thoughts on different dimensions, because that resonates with me as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I totally perceive the dimensions as being strata of consciousness, and reality organizes and expresses itself in different ways according to the unique bandwidth of that particular strata. So for example, the 6th dimension would express itself totally differently than the 3rd dimension, but it's all one reality. And I believe that we have access to all of it. And I believe that the 6th dimension filters down into the 3rd dimension, higher dimensions filter down into this dimension that we're in. And as we expand our consciousness, we become more like sensitive and finally attuned to the other ways that consciousness can express itself. So for example, the 1st dimension of consciousness, I mean, I'm known to ramble, so I don't want to go on about it for too long.
Please do. We're all about this.
An example of the way that it expresses here that we have access to, but that we don't normally dip into, is the atomic and the subatomic level of reality, which is sort of the interface where consciousness is like non-physically expressed and then it's physically expressed. So at the subatomic level, we call them quarks, bosons, leptons, electrons, and neutrons, things like that. And according to scientists, I kind of have to take their word on it, but they just blip in and out of existence. And that is like a first dimension of consciousness. that we can attune ourselves to, but we don't. And we don't for a reason. I believe that we don't because we're so freaking preoccupied here in this like tiny little slice of the third and fourth dimension that we occupy. We don't even fully explore our own dimension, never mind exploring the other dimensions, but it's all accessible to us, and it's all it's all around us all the time. I don't know, like where do you want me to go with this?
Yeah,
I literally
I didn't want to cut you off. So what you're saying is like the first dimension is at an atomic level, a smaller level.
That's a way that it expresses. Yeah, it's a way that it expresses for us here. So the first dimension is just like, it's an isness. It just is. It there's no emotion, there's no story, there's not a lot of complexity. It's just like the bare bones being of something. And, you know, so an atom or a subatomic particle would be an example of that.
So that's dimension one. Dimension two would be what? Because I was literally going to ask you, like, this is a third dimension. What are the lower two dimensions? So we get the first dimension. What's the second dimension?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to back up a little bit and say that the 0 point field is the source from which everything emanates. And it's just a completely tranquil field of consciousness. And to me, it vibrates at the resonance that we understand as love. That's the word that we've ascribed to it. And it's not like cheesy Ross and Rachel from Friends love. It's like that deep love that completely, you know, brings you to your knees and brings tears to your eyes. That is the actual primordial substance of all reality through all the dimensions. And then in the first dimension, it expresses as something, a thing. And it's no more complicated than that. The second dimension, it expresses as another thing. And those two things are in relationship to each other. So that's where polarity and duality come in. And that definitely affects us here, polarity and duality.
I see. And duality, it tends to be seen as woo-woo, right? But it resonates with me. That that it just resonates with me that there's light and there's dark. And even if you take a look at it, there's God and then there's the fallen. And I know you want to talk about the fallen, but you get into that, the fallen angels and what they want to do with this realm. Like this area, whatever this is, it's special. Whether you're coming from I hate the word woo-woo. What's another term that spiritual? I don't know. Spiritual perspective,
metaphysical, maybe.
Metaphysical, or I don't know if it's organized really, or we'll say Abrahamic religion point of view. Whatever it is, this is special. This is special. So, and we know that there's a war between God and the fallen angels, or good and evil, light and dark. Whatever it is, we have established that is what's going on. So that basis is what I understand is this place is special. There's something very special about where we are, and we are not just, as Bill Hicks would say, viruses in shoes or monkeys in shoes. Okay, we are something more important than that. We are different. And that resonates with me, that this is a battle between light and dark. So that's what I get from all this.
Yeah, I agree with you completely that this place is extremely special and humans are extremely special. And we've been like deeply gaslit.
Yeah. I mean, that's everything.
Yeah. We think that we are the problem. And we contribute to the problem 100%. And none of us is perfect. Like being a human means that you have both sides to you. You have the light and you have the dark. And so, we're very fallible, but we're also extremely powerful, extremely precious. And I think that, so the second dimension is two things. It's relationship, couples, harmony, dissonance, duality, polarity. The third dimension, which is where we are, where it gets exciting, is like we have the first thing and then we have the second thing and then a third thing. And that third thing is us. And we are the observer, the experiencer, and the chooser. And so we're observing the light and we're observing the dark. We're experiencing them both in different ways and we're choosing between the two. So we have this like incredible perspective that all of a sudden turns this bandwidth of consciousness into like a multicolored, like super vividly textured, sensual, amazing realm to experience, through our bodies and through our individuated consciousness. And I believe that human beings are the guardians of free will. We are very, very powerful. And I believe that we have been gifted with the ability to create, and that ability is not given to all beings. And I mean, it's not for me. I'm not even going to hypothesize as to who is given the ability to create apart from humans and why or why not, whatever. I just observe that humans are given the ability to create, and there are beings that want that ability. They want to be here and they want to be able to experience creation and to create here freely with free will. And for whatever reason, that was given to us. And it's a really big deal. And we've been gaslit into believing that we are unworthy, we're ineffectual, we are just victims. Like there's this huge victim programming that's running rampant through everybody. There's entitlement programming. And I mean, everybody, like I find it in myself. I'm not judging anyone. We've been heavily programmed with that stuff so that we can't remember how powerful we are. And I think that when it's said that we are made in the image of God, I believe that's what it means. I don't believe that it means that God has a head and a torso and 2 arms and legs, eyes in the middle of your face. I believe that we were given an ability to create. And that is like probably one of the biggest gifts that any being anywhere could ever be gifted with. And we just have to remember that and remember how to do it.
I agree with that. I think, you study just a lot of the organized religions. They talk about how these dark forces are jealous of us. And if you kind of get into like this part of transhumanism, right? And what transhumanism is a lot of us about taking our souls out of our bodies and putting in the machines. And what are they going to do with those bodies that they have here? Well, the whole belief is that they want to insert themselves in a possession type of way within us. And then they could ascend back to heaven. Like that is the basis of what so much of this transhumanism movement is that they want to take out our souls, put them into our bodies so that they can ascend back into heaven. That's really what the ones that have been casted out. But on their terms, right? Like they want to ascend back up, but not to reunite with God, because that's available to them at all times. It's available to all of us at all times. That's what I perceive and experience. But they don't want to do it on those terms. They want to retain their individuality. They want to retain their own it's like the unchecked ego that does not want to surrender or sacrifice itself. It wants to have its own way, this dark consciousness, this unchecked ego, and it will step on as many people, as many souls as it needs to on the way there, and it will take no account, no inventory of the collateral damage, because it doesn't matter, because it's an uncontrolled, unchecked ego. Yeah, and I totally agree with all that. And that is the war that is going on. And that is the game that is going on. Hey guys, you like to make money? Well, let me tell you about my buddy, James McMahon at Copy My Crypto. Let me tell you about copymycrypto.com. Listen, everybody, we've seen so many people making ridiculous money in crypto, but did you know it's easy for you to do the same? The Copy My Crypto membership site shows you the coins that YouTuber James McMahon personally holds and allows you to copy him, okay? It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know anything about crypto or how to invest. You simply do what he does. So let me tell you about James. He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which despite heavy censorship has over 26,000 subscribers. Since 2020, he's told his viewers to buy 26 crypto coins. Had you put in $100 into each one, it went on to be worth $120,000. Of the 26 coins, his top pick of the year, a coin called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said. That one call retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is all public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify for yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then stop what you're doing right now and head over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I've said, but my listeners gain full access for just $1. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. The recession is here, guys. You can suffer like everyone else or choose to thrive. James is a real deal. Go visit his site now. So I don't dismiss anything. You know, there's some people in organized religion that dismiss the Hermetic principles and all that stuff. I don't know. They resonate with me. They just resonate because as I apply them to like the world and how they operate, I start to realize that, you know, that they work. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, but like, you know, just so much in what is taught in those Hermetic principles resonates with me as almost like a playbook of how to survive this realm that God has created. And I'm not saying it supersedes God in any way, but it's almost like an instruction manual on how to survive here, about what goes up, you know, this thing about vibrations, everything's like it's all energy manipulation. And you start to realize that when you go through recovery. I start to realize that I am, like, by changing how I see the world, I change my vibrations. You know, what I think inside me becomes the energy I put outside me. And these are things that resonate with me. And I think there's a way that it all works together. That it's all one thing. You know, it's like, so I'm just gonna be honest with you. You know, there's a whole discussion that the Rockefellers got behind AA. What does that mean about AA? Is it demonic?
AI? You mean AI?
No, AA,
Oh,
Alcoholics
AA,
Anonymous,
Alcohol-
which is a 12-step program that, like, if you study, you know, Bill W., like the Rockefellers found out about his book and wanted to help spread the word. So does that mean AA is evil? I mean, based on all the lives I've seen change, I would say no. I don't know, man. Like, I'm asking questions right here. So for me, man, I am open-minded to so much of the Akashic records. You know, when you talk, I mean, I ask God all the time, like, hey man, show me what is the truth. Show me. And I will follow whatever I'm shown. And what I get is that there's just like, there's God created us, and there's a playbook to how to survive and advance in this realm. And it's all about love. That's what I believe. And again, I'm going to go through the Bible. I'm going to read it. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn because I haven't read the Bible, but this, just based on, again, what I'm saying is my experience this is what I see going on in this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on that, or am I just way off?
No, I mean, I agree with you completely. I think that love is, I mean, it sounds so cheesy. Every time it comes out of my mouth, I feel like I just sound like I'm saying kumbaya or something like that. But I think that love is actually the solvent that dissolves all of the illusion that causes us so much struggle here. So love is a solvent, hate is a coagulant. Love dissolves illusion, and it dissolves barriers, it dissolves conflict. Hate reinforces, and it reinforces, like, it coagulates into ugly patterns, ugly distortions, ugly illusions. And so we get like stuck here, right? Love dissolves, but it also is a coagulant. So when we are vibrating in, like, our baseline frequency is love, it dissolves all that stuff. It dissolves perceptions that we've picked up around painful trauma experiences we've had. It dissolves conflict. It dissolves illusions, like limiting beliefs, things that aren't really representative of the truth of this realm and who we are. And it allows us to reform a version of reality that is, like, much more, the way I describe it is, it's like crystalline and geometric. It's symmetrical and beautiful, kind of like those water droplet experiments by Dr. Masaru Emoto. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you know, like whatever, you had the water droplets and you label it with like hate or some terrible thing, and it turns into a distorted pattern. There's no symmetry to it. There's no elegance. And then you have a water droplet from the same source and you label it with love or gratitude or whatever. And it's this beautiful, like snowflake shape. I think that's just really the key to all of it. And we are the ones that it's like we're in a giant puzzle room. This life is a puzzle room, and we have to like solve the puzzle over and over and over. But guess what? Love is always the fucking answer. It's always the solution, but it's hard because we have to find it within ourselves. And the barriers within ourselves are the resentments that we carry and the unresolved trauma and shadow. And then it goes into the Akashic records and all of our past life shit, whatever stuff is influencing us from like a really deep blind spot, things that we can't necessarily see until we learn how to access that field. But love is always the answer. We just have to bring ourselves into that space. I really think it is as simple and as challenging as that.
I think you nailed it. It is simple and challenging all at the same time, and it just like, you know, we come in. I'm older than everybody here on the show right now, but we come in at a time in which the psyops upon psyops upon psyops have made it very hard to figure out what is real and what is not real. So when I go into like, how am I supposed to digest what's real and what's not real? The only thing I can get to is like, look inside yourself and find out how you can make yourself better. And by making yourself better, you make others, you affect others. I see it happen all the time. It's just in real time. I see it happen. Like in comedy, you know, it's like this thing I talk about, like you don't change the game. The way you change the game is you can't change the game. You can only beat the game, and then the game adapts to you, and that's how the game changes, right? And I see it happen all the time through like stand-up comedy. I talk about this all the time, but I watch like Dane Cook came and changed the game through showing us get a following on MySpace that would change how you operate. And then Andrew Schultz, then Joe Rogan and the whole, you know, a Death Squad crew, they came and they changed the game. And then, you know, Andrew Schultz came and changed it. And each person's changing because the game adapts to the winner. Oh, you win enough, and everybody starts being, and the game's like, and it changes again. So like, no, the way to make the change is by winning the game of life and showing others how to do it. And that is to me energy. That is to me Christ consciousness. That is, and I can only say that like this is things I've seen happen in real life. Like when the other 2 shows ago, I was walking Jay Dyer down out of the show out of here, and he thanked me for helping him get on the road doing what he wants. And I go, yeah, man, you've listened to me, and like when people listen, things change for them. And I'm just, but what I'm doing is showing you what I've done. And I'm functionally illiterate, okay? I mean, like, if I can change it a little bit, you can change it a little bit. And like, when people have listened to me, they change. Like, Tom Segura, Theo Vaughn, Johnny Mitchell. I mean, I could go on forever about people that I've sat down, had conversations with, and they've changed the game. Now, that's not me going, oh, look how great I'm telling you it's not. What I'm telling you is, like, that's how you beat the game. You show others how to do it through your actions.
I mean, do you remember that 16-year-old we saw?
Yeah.
I got his Instagram and I was like, you need to, once you turn 18, hit me up. Because, I mean, obviously he's still 16 years old. But I was like, I was impressed. 16 years old, went up in front of a bunch of adults and fucking killed. And I was like, you're killing. You're like Mac Miller to me. I was like, yo, you keep this doing. You're 16. You already know what you want to do. I wish I was 16 at that age with knowing what I wanted to do.
I wish you were 26 knowing what you that guy. But the point is, like, that's it. So, like, these last couple episodes have been very much into me and my spirituality. So this is a perfect time because it's been on the other side for a little while. But I've also felt that we've had a bunch of shows that were very spiritual, more of the esoteric, let's say, side of it. And I'm glad we've had the organized religion Christian point of it because I love Christianity. I love I love all religions, but I think it's important to have conversations about all this stuff. And just the more there's an old saying, the more you study, the less you know, which is like so crazy, but it's also so true. The more you study, the less you know. But what I do know is like this place is very special. And there are demons out there actively attempting to brainwash us into doing negative things. And it's systematic. It goes to the highest levels, you know, and like we could sit there and have discussion about, is the internet good or bad for us? I think there's a lot of good, but you have to get to the point where you understand the darkness that the internet can bring to you. And if you don't watch yourself, you can get lost in that because it makes it seem like that's, you know, we're talking about Adam 22 and his stuff that he just did. Like, that's such dark arts occult stuff. And then you study that guy. He has deep ties to the Clintons, you know, and like, why is that guy talk about what he's doing on the internet and not getting shadow banned like the rest of us? Oh, because he's an in guy. And all the stuff he's pushing is what they want to push, which is this kind of, in my opinion, Malachian dark arts, negative, low vibrational stuff. And when I get stuff in the high vibration, low vibration, it resonates with me. That's where I'm at.
And I think like you keep referring to how it resonates with you. And I think this is a really important thing to highlight to people, to everybody, for all of us, because it has to resonate in your heart. So we all know that there are snake oil charmers who can come and say all the right words, and what they're saying with their mouths and their words sounds like it should be true. But we can feel inside of ourselves somewhere, whether we listen to it or not, but we can feel the dissonance. We can feel that there's a hijacked file on the transmission they're bringing through. There's like a corruption code, you know, like they're saying the right words, but they're sneaking in something gross to move you in a direction that is not going to serve you. It serves them. And we can constantly be cycling around, like mentally, cognitively searching for the truth. But the truth is found in the heart. It really is. It's your heart that will tell you if something resonates with you or not. And nobody else in the whole fucking world has more authority than any of us individually and what we understand as true in our hearts. You know, like I can't tell you that my interpretation is 100% facts and everybody else's isn't, because that's obviously not true. For some people it will resonate, and for other people it won't. And that's just what we have to go on. We have to understand that nobody has authority, and the words that people are saying can't necessarily be trusted, but our heart will tell us whether something is true or right for us or good for us at this time or not. And if we can just follow that, it really helps. But I also want to mention what you said about AA, because I think that's one of the things that they do too, is it's part of the dangers of the truther community, is like there's this sort of glamour over it where people will kind of be like chasing a truth down a rabbit hole, and they're uncovering that this thing is corrupted and that thing is corrupted and this thing. And you get to a point, I've heard you mention it lots of times, where you kind of feel black pilled and you feel like, well, then like, is anything good? Like, what's the point? What's the point of anything that we're even doing here then? And that doesn't serve anyone either. I think that's all another distraction program, because ultimately, this is what I mean when I say we're the guardians of free will. Everything is both. So it could totally be like straight up facts that the Rockefellers funded AA. And so it has ties to, you know, like basically it feels like a dark satanic cabal to me, not AA specifically, but the Rockefellers. And that might be true, but as you said, it's done a lot of good. And we are the ones that have to decide what we're going to make of it, just like we have to decide what we're going to make of anything. And we are the ones that can extract the light and the truth. There's always truth woven into absolutely every single thing in this realm. And there's also, unfortunately, darkness woven into every single thing in this realm. And we are the ones that have to discern between the two and amplify whatever we align with. Some people are truly amplified with the darkness at this point on their journey.
And it turns them on almost, like they're addicted to it. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And again, like I've had people like, let's do about the occult symbolism of Alcoholics Anonymous. I go, hey man, all I know is I've seen people come in lost and dead on the side of the road. Their life was basically roadkill. They cleaned themselves up. They became very productive parts of society, and they sit around. They help a lot of people. That to me is something. What something starts out, we talk about this all the time. A great example is YouTube, right? What YouTube started as, right? That it was basically backing from the CIA, but YouTube became this incredible thing that got out information that you weren't getting on the mainstream news. It got so good that they had to shut it down and destroy it. So it's like things get away because people adapt and get back. That's all I'm saying. It's like, you know, and part of me wish I hadn't even brought up AA, but I just got to address it because, you know, it's just like, I think people get too emotionally involved in anything, and that like this instantly means that, and this instantly means this, and this is, you know, it's like, I'm going to say something like RFK Jr. Do I trust any politicians? No, I don't. But like everyone, you know, the one guy's like, oh, he went to Epstein's Island a bunch of times. But we also know that like those people know who's on the up, right? So they grab them and try to capture them before they get to anywhere. So I'm not saying because RFK's anti-gun, you're out. For me, you're out. You're out. But that does that mean all of his message is tainted?
I mean, he has some pretty good excuses for anti-gun.
Well, yeah, okay.
Come on.
I mean, well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
I mean, like, if anybody should be anti-gun, it's a Kennedy. Of course,
yeah.
I agree with that.
What it doesn't mean though is that he's all bad.
Yes,
You know,
I
that's
think,
what it doesn't
and
mean.
again, this gets that you can call it woo-woo if you want, but like, I don't believe in like you're with us or against us. I believe there's it's a spectrum of life, and
It's funny because that's kind of a biblically sourced thing.
yeah, well, that's what it is. They even say Jesus said it, right? Like you're either with me or against me. I've been told that before, but I'm not. That does not resonate with me. All right, guys, you know how important sleep is. Well, let me tell you about our good friends at HelixSleep.com. Let me tell you about Helix Sleep. That's right. HelixSleep.com. Listen, I love sleep. You love sleep. We all need to sleep. We spend most of our time sleeping. And your mattress is the most important part of your sleep. Without a mattress, what are you going to do? And that's why I want to tell you about the people at Helix Sleep. Listen, they have one of the best out there. I mean, dude, I love Helix Sleep, dude. My favorite Helix mattress, let me tell you about it. Bang! It's a Helix Midnight Lux. That thing is like warm butter sleeping in. It's the best. Dude, I don't know what I would do without my Helix mattress. Do you guys have a Helix mattress?
Absolutely, I do. Yes, I love it.
Dude,
Sleep on it every night.
I'm taking the quiz right now.
He's taking the quiz right now. Look at, he's lying about how tall he was. Like he's like Helix is test is like a
65
chick.
feet?
That's the lie. That's the lie. Not the person I'm sleeping with.
There we go. So Kim Kardashian's high. Nice, dude. Nice. So you go there. It's a real quick quiz. It's fast. It's easy. It's fun. And it will help you figure out which one of Helix's 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe collection, the newly released Helix Elite collection, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, and even a mattress for just kids. Whatever mattress, it's going to figure out which one's the best one for you and personalize it. That's right, dude. Get your personalized mattress and it's shipped straight to your door, free of charge. Helix knows there's no better way to test out a mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. In your home with your own mattress. And that's why they're going to give you a 100-night trial. That's right. And a 10 to 15-year warranty, man. Come on, what lasts?
Trial? Wow.
A trial.
On a mattress.
A trial. That's right. For a mattress. Everyone's unique and everyone sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different models to choose from. Each one is designed specifically for specific sleep positions and feel preference. Wow. It's that great. So here's what we want you to do. It's really that simple. Here's the offer, everybody. Here's the offer. Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/tinfoil. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. So go to helixsleep.com helixsleep.com/tinfoil to get 20% off all mattresses and 2 free pillows for just Tinfoil Hat listeners. That's helixsleep.com/tinfoil and use the promo code tinfoil to get this amazing offer. Enjoy your sleep.
I just think we have I feel like all of that is it's distracting us from the fact that we have the power to transmute anything and everything. Like, it doesn't have to be for or against. And I say that, and like, I 100% have my lines in the sand, like drawn. They're concrete, they're reinforced. Like, I'm never stepping over them. Anything that harms children, never.
Me too.
Never.
Bang, out.
Right. So I'm not saying like, oh, there is no, it's all love and light, whatever. I just mean that we live, like, our consciousness as human beings exists at the interface between good and evil. So the way it looks to me, this is all symbolic. I'm not saying it literally happened this way, but it looks to me like there were a group of beings. I think they were seraphim. They were creators. And there was a fall, and the fall came down through all the different dimensions, and it hit a floor, a basement level. And that's this place. And the original one who fell plunged down further and created almost like the upside down from Stranger Things. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's like a reverse world, like
Yes.
we see in all the dark occult and satanic symbolism, everything is in reversal. So it's like a reverse direction, a reverse version of this world. And we live at the interface between the two. And we each have a good side and a bad side. I don't know. That's not really the way to put it. But what I'm saying is, like, for example, I could judge like Hillary Clinton very easily, right? But if I was literally born in her literal circumstances and grew up under her literal circumstances and the amount of brainwashing she probably experienced, I can't actually say that I would not be an agent for the darkness myself, because I'm not above that. Like, I don't want to entertain that level of hubris that just because I choose to be for the light, that I am like somehow infallible and incapable of doing dark, terrible things under the right circumstances. I think I totally could do dark, terrible things under certain circumstances. And that's a part of me that I have to reconcile. And I have to understand that because I live at the interface, the junction point between the darkness and the light, there's literally a devil on our shoulder and an angel, or figuratively, I guess. But you know what I mean? Like, we have both of those sides, and we are the ones that can transmute all of it and choose all of it. So if, like, going back to AA, if it was all like satanically funded by the Rockefellers, but like you're saying, amazing good things have happened out of it, well, then what are we going to do? Pull the plug on the entire thing and just leave people with no system, no help?
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. And,
we take the good.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And, it's like, and in AA, they talk about, like, there's a lot of talk, there's a lot, they always say that the AA, it comes from, Christian Bible, but there's a lot of Hermetic principles in there for sure. And again, I see those as a playbook and how to survive in this kind of realm that we live in, and at this point, next episode, I might have another opinion, but based on the data and what I'm using right now. And, so you'll go to these recovery meetings and you'll hear somebody like who's got 40 years sobriety and they're like alcoholic. And you're like, well, you haven't drank a beer in 40 years. I don't think are you really an alcoholic? But that gets into that, we have light and dark in all of us. And that to me resonates with me, because that's why half the country likes Trump and half the country hate Trump. Half the country likes Hillary Clinton, half the country hates Hillary Clinton, right? Why? Because we see some see the light, some see the dark, right? I mean, I guarantee you, there's going to be, you take your worst dictator, I'm not going to say names because I'll clip it, but you take your worst dictator, I'm sure there were some people like, I wasn't that bad of a guy. You see people around him hugging him. They see him as a savior of what they thought was an important cause. Later on, we realized that they were pieces of shit committing war crimes against humanity. But that's kind of what we're talking about. So when I see homeless people here, I don't automatically go, drug addict, loser, can't take control of their life. I go, hey man, that person's probably born into a world of shit. never was given skills how to survive, and is just doing the best they can. And that doesn't exclude them from their actions, but that has a sympathy of like, not everybody gets the same opportunities out the gate. And, you know, I'm sorry, dude. Like, half these kids are from foster care. Nobody taught them how to do anything, and they're just fucking lost. And we don't have a system that teaches these kids how to do something to be productive, because our system's ran by Malachians who want to throw them in jail, make money off their misery, put them on pharmaceuticals, make money off their misery, and low vibrational bullshit. And that's, again, getting into that thing. That resonates with me. So we're on this journey, dude. And like, I know you want to get into the fallen because that's something I want to talk about as well. But, you know, when you get into the fallen, that's something that's across all boards. You know, I really do believe all this is about this war between God and these fallen angels. That's what I believe. And that the people at the highest levels worship these fallen angels and all the cash and prizes that they've been promised.
So if you believe that, then you believe there's like a second coming, like shit's about to hit the fan sooner than later?
Well, I got to do more research into it, but something also tells me we might be leaving the 2,000 years of darkness. That the 2,000 years of darkness may have already happened, and that now we're leaving it and we're about to go to a higher vibrational level. Because does this seem like it's an enlightened time?
No.
It seems like it's a pretty bad time. So again, I'm in a journey. I'm asking questions, and you might catch me on another episode where I've said everything I said in the past is just stupid. So I don't know, but this is what resonates with me right now.
Yeah. I mean, depends on who you're talking to. I think we're in an enlightened time. I think it's happening. And I think that it's like, I perceive that the gray zone is disappearing. Do you remember the texture of reality in the 90s? I might have asked you about this when you were last on my show, but like reality felt so different in the 90s. It was kind of grainier. It was coarser, heavier. Now it's very ephemeral. It's like a dream. Like things change so fast. Obviously, in the news cycles, things change so fast, but even in our personal lives, things change so fast. Our minds change so fast. It's like new information is coming in all the time, and reality feels more fluid and more light. And I think that's because more and more people are waking up to various degrees within the dream. Like we're all characters within the dream of a great dreaming mind. And the more of us that wake up and realize it's a dream and start lucid dreaming within the dream, the more responsive, the more quickly responsive the dream comes, the less convincing it becomes. But, you know, we're mid journey, like we're not all the way there. You know, definitely we're not enlightened, not even close.
Yeah, I think as a species, as humanity, no, we're very lost, and we're allowing the manipulation. But I just find that it's starting to change. I really do. And again, I think the internet was created as a mechanism to deliver trauma, and it has for a very long time. But I also think people are starting to wake up, and you know, if you get into Buddhism, and this is another inversion, right? The inversion that the elites want you to believe is the 1% is about the powerful and that they control us. But in Buddhism, the 1% is that 1% of the country, 1% of the people can change the other 99%'s belief system. And you see that now with you know, all these wonderful podcasts that have been just hammering humanity that there is like a lies going on. The COVID was a lie. The World Economic Forum's doing this all dark shit. Our history is a lie. Our food is a lie. Our air is a lie. Everything's a lie. People are waking up. And it's like, it's really hard to make that happen. But the 1%, which is this small group of podcasters. I mean, we were just talking in between the shows, Amy, about how all my friends who are like mainstream comedians are all talking conspiracies now.
All of them.
And
it's
how
amazing,
right? They all like people who would have me on their podcast say, and they were always nice. They were never like assholes. They just asked, and then the room would just get quiet. And I was like, oh, I just ruined this podcast, and I hate doing it. But now they're all talking about
Well, they
it.
love it. Like Brendan Schaub loves when a fight
Shot
companion.
was early. Shot was early, but somebody's just telling me like Big J's talking about, and he was always really great, but he's now talking about it.
but-
Obviously, Theo Vaughn is full on in the mix of it.
But it's what you say. It's safe, dangerous.
But that's okay because we need that because they're talking to a much
huge
wider
audience,
than ours. They can't go into the stuff that we discuss.
Well, they also they've just started on their journey
they're just
too, you know?
early into. They're still like amazed by the JFK assassination, and that's great. Take your audience on that journey, man. It's good, but glad you're talking about it. Like we said in the last episode, like there's something at the Comedy Store now where they're like, "You sound like Tripoli," and everyone's like, "Yeah, I do," because it's true. But that wasn't 6 years ago. Johnny was there when people were touching me about Pizzagate, wanting to fight me about Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Now imagine somebody trying to say outside of Bryan Callen that there's no such thing as a cabal that does pedophilia. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, there's a movie in theaters right now at my AMC about
We should all
child
go.
trafficking. Yeah, we should.
I just get really sad when I see that stuff.
yeah.
Like
Dark. It's dark, but I think they've intentionally made it hopeful so that people will go.
So let's get into this. Fallen angels, false matrix. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so what I think is happening, what I think that the dark energies are, the dark consciousness, like I agree with you that the transhumanist stuff and then a lot of just the trauma that we experience is so that we don't trust being human and we don't want to be in our bodies and we get addicted to shit and we want to numb out and we want to like not really be here and occupy this vessel, and it's all a trajectory to get us to like leave or go in the back seat. It's like getting in the back seat of your own car, right? So that then these dark energies can come in and take over in the driver's seat, and they now have a vessel that they can occupy in this realm. And I think that those dark consciousness is all come from ultimately fallen angelics. And I don't perceive that the angels are like the way that they're usually depicted as, like white people wearing white robes with wings and harps and shit on clouds. I think that they are like a whole other creature altogether, but they are higher dimensional, which means that they weren't made with a body. There's no body for them. So they can't actually get in this realm. And I think this is where they want to be because it's like Pleasure Island. It's like Westworld. It's the place where you go to like indulge carnal appetites if you have them, they want to be here. And I think that they want to be able to create, and they were not given the ability to create. And I believe they were not given free will. We were given free will. They took free will. And so it comes at a cost for them. They have to separate themselves entirely from source or God, consciousness, whatever term anyone's comfortable with. Basically the light, the totality that animates everything. They've had to separate themselves from that in order to survive. Like that's the cost of their taking free will that was not built into them. And so they're kind of like they are starving. They can't resource themselves naturally, and they use us. I believe that we're just like livestock. They use us to resource themselves. They siphon off of our light. Some of us, they want to numb us down and dumb us down, and like you said, and get us addicted, get us incarcerated so that we literally are like livestock and they can just easily siphon off our life force energy and our creative energy. And others among us, they want to use us as hosts, either long-term hosts or temporary hosts that they can like come and be in and go for a joyride. I really think that's what's happening. And I think that their ultimate end goal is to completely take over this realm. I think that that's what's behind, there are a lot of like, there's a lot of stuff about like beautiful star seeds, and like I know disclosure is a big thing right now, and like there's these beautiful aliens and like the Pleiadians and all that kind of stuff, benevolent forces. But there are also a lot of accounts from people who have experienced abductions. I've never experienced an abduction to my conscious memory, so I can't attest to it personally, but they will talk about it in a way that sounds very traumatizing and super uncool and super not with their permission, you know. And there's in a lot of those cases they talk about like hybrid breeding programs and having their genetic material taken from them. And I think that they are trying to build bodies that are suited to this fourth dimensional realm that they can occupy. And the reason they want the human genetics is because we have that creator ability. So they want to become creator here and pretty much like gods of this realm unto themselves. Like they just want to be here, free for all, total party till the end of time. They don't care about the consequences or the curfew or anything like that. And they don't care about the collateral damage that they're creating. And I believe that at a certain level, we are all one consciousness. It's all one thing. And this is a big, gigantic drama narrative playing out. But on the human level where we're living it out, it's very real shit. And it has a very real impact on people. And it causes a ton of suffering for human beings around the world. But that's what I think is happening. I think it's like fallen angels that basically mutinied against God. I think they were created first, and you know, it was all like glory, and they were God's right hand beings. And then God decided to create us and create humans who could experience God's creation and also create within God's creation and do so freely according to what we want to do. And they were like, what the hell? Like, you gave this little like mud clay body shit the ability to do those things. You gave them the right to experience creation and create here, and we don't get to do that. It's kind of like being the oldest child and being told that you don't get to go to university or you don't get to go traveling. You just have to inherit the family business or something. And that is where the resentment comes from. I mean, a lot of that is obviously projecting human emotions onto it.
So when you say creation, you mean making people? Is that what you're talking about, creation?
It depends. I think God
creating life.
Yeah, I think we create by manifesting, but it's a pretty big deal. Like we are the lucid dreamers within the dream. Like we are the ones that determine how this.
So you're talking everything, like creating this podcast. Mm-hmm. That's what he's talking. That's what you're talking about. Everything that we create, from roads to movies and people as well. But is that what you're talking about when you say creation?
I think we can do so much more than that. I think we can create, I think the pyramids were created by humans. I do. I don't think it was aliens at all. And I don't think that it was done with like the kind of tools that we have. The stuff I've seen in the Akashic records about how our chakras actually work, like we're not functioning in the way that we're supposed to be.
Okay, let's hear it. Tell me about it. Tell me about the Akashic records and what they're telling you.
So for example, we're not meant to communicate through our throat chakra. We're not meant to primarily communicate through the throat. Primarily, we are supposed to be telepathic beings, and we communicate with each other through the sacral chakra, which is the one that's associated with our sexual reproductive organs. But it's not just like sexual communication. It's like that sensual relationship. It's kind of like if you've ever had a cat or a dog snuggled up against you, that is sacral chakra telepathy. Like you can feel that animal's energy, it's feeling yours, you're communicating on a certain level. Our abilities are very atrophied, so we're not super clear about what we can do, but we're communicating telepathically through our sacral. We're also communicating telepathically through our heart, where we feel each other empathically, feel each other's emotions. And that's what, like, if we're functioning according to our original blueprint, the way that we're supposed to work, we would never be doing the shit to each other that we do here in this realm, because we would all be feeling it, because we're all actually one consciousness. It would not serve any of us to cause pain to another being, because we would feel that pain ourselves. So we communicate at the heart level, and then we also communicate through the third eye, which has obviously been under huge attack, where we would transmit like thought pictures to each other. Like I would love to, there's so many things I can see that I struggle to put into words. I would love to just pick it up and put it in your third eye, Sam. I would love to just like give it to you and you could just see it and we would get to skip that. Just skip this whole conversation thing.
Just boom, 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 just hitting each other with like, yeah, I'm down with that. I mean, like you can tell it's like sometimes you'll meet somebody and be like, you felt like that you knew them forever. Like when my children were born, I can't remember a time they weren't in my life.
Yeah.
I don't remember them not in my life. And they didn't meet me till I was 47 years old. And I don't remember them not in my life. I always feel like I've known them forever. Forever. And it's just like these things or like even when, let's say, dating, right? You walk up to somebody, you just like, whoa, I just feel this. Or, oh, they're not feeling me at all. So why even bother? Like, that's what we're talking. Energy. Like, again, it's like, this is stuff that I have felt in my own life. Like, nobody's had to teach me this.
Dude, I thought about Sam today. And then a couple hours later, you call me. Is that the same?
Or how about right then I call you?
Oh, yeah,
Does
right
that
then.
ever happen?
Yeah.
You're like, bang.
But is that in the same type of...
That too, man. That does too. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I think there's this where we live is a lot more special than a lot of people on all sides want to admit. Like I'm not into the we're just monkeys in shoes hurling on a rock through space. I think that's just absolute garbage. Okay? I also don't think that all the woo-woo is just like Satan. I just don't believe that. It just doesn't it's just not for me.
Would you think
I don't dismiss anyone who believes it or doesn't respect it. I respect all people's views. But for me it's just like in my own life, like I'm going to be honest with you. I do believe half the reason this show does well is because we go with our gut a lot on our feelings of what is going on. And that to me, even though Johnny doesn't believe it, is psychic energy.
No. I said I don't believe you're psychic.
Okay. Well, my family's psychic. Okay. My family's psychic. And I'm just like things play out in my head and I just trust it. And it tends to work out. So that's why I always say that, tinfoil hat is the sports center of the future. Like you'll hear what's going to happen 6 months from now on the episode you're listening to now. People will, you'll get something from it from the future because it's all about feel.
Do you think after so many episodes you'd be where you're at, as in like still on the journey, where you're kind of like in between with the woo-woo and the religious, where like, I had like not that I knew you before, but I thought you kind of were like, I'm atheist, I don't believe this, and you kind of knew more who you were.
I was never atheist,
or like, but you were like super not religious.
I was never organized religion, ever, and I don't think I ever will be. But I may get like in. You're Christian mystic, which is like Jedi shit to me,
You say you want to read the Bible. I don't think you would have ever wanted to read the Bible before.
No, for sure. No.
And like now that's what I mean. I'm like, dude, after 600 episodes, we're finally going to like read the Bible and like go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I would like to because I think it's like, I think you get into dangerous places if you refuse to be open-minded to anything. And then if I'm not dead by the ending of reading the Bible, because it seems like it goes on forever, but I might read the Quran too and just read all these different books on that people use to better themselves and live closer to God. I'm open-minded to it all. I really am. I'm open-minded to it all because I just want to hear all of it. But what I do know is what I feel. What I feel is that we are, and everything is energy. And, even though we are in the material, I mean, that is, okay, we get these little things that all things agree on, organized religion and woo-woo, right? Fallen angels. All sides believe in that. Okay, so we can take that. The material, that seems to be an accepted thing, that this is a material realm. That God sent us to a material realm. That to me resonates with me. That there's this higher level and vibrational, the higher you vibrate. And I just see it happen in my life, man. The higher vibrational stuff I do, okay, the higher vibrational people come in my life. Now, so I deal in recovery. I tell people that I'm helping through the journey of recovery. I go, you don't have to be honest with me, but you can't lie to God, because God is wherever you are when you're doing the shit you're bullshitting about. So you're not lying to me. It doesn't really matter. And what it is like, we're trying to get you to be truthful on this journey, because honesty is the best policy and lying is low vibrational bullshit. Now, don't get me wrong. Occasionally, I like a little white lie to stop a fight from the lady. Oh, yeah, I was just doing that. Trust me, I'm not lying on the big things. I'm trying not to anymore.
Like, I'm on the way. That's a typical lie that I'm on the way. I'm 5 minutes out.
I'm almost home.
Yeah, and you're not 5 minutes out.
Sometimes I'll tell her, hey, man, bad traffic. She will literally screenshot a picture of no traffic.
That's women. That's women for you.
You use that on us at this comedy store one time. To you, like, I'm walking down the stairs, and we were actually outside looking at the stairs.
Well,
we saw you drive by, though. We saw you drive by.
There's two different stairs. But
stairs in your car, of course.
But you know, those are God's always with you. So is my life perfect? No, because I believe that I still have low vibrational behaviors that some of this 75 hard, I'm trying to get out. I'm sticking with it, you know, just low vibrational.
There's a lot of temptation. That's why you can't get away from it. Like you said, like the 55, you show up to 7-Eleven and it's right there.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard for.
Please don't talk about boner pills with Amy Belair on. It's like I feel like a real scumbag saying that stuff. She deserves better. But I do think this place is special, whatever it is, and there's rules and and being able to. I hate the word manipulation because it has a negative connotation to it, but the ability to manipulate energy in vibrations, I think is a big thing. Right?
Can I tell you what I have seen that our throat is actually for?
What?
It's not meant, we're not supposed to communicate in words like this. And I actually think that's what the Tower of Babel event from the Bible is about, is breaking up the connection that we had, the telepathic connection we all had with each other, and scattering us so that we cannot stay connected to ourselves as like divine children of God. I don't think that was actually God that did that. That's just my interpretation. But what I've seen that the throat actually does, and this is where the pyramids come in, is that if we are functioning according to our original blueprint, which we are very, very far off of, the throat is much more powerful. So we would all have a set of pipes, like, you know, the most powerful singers that we know of. And that's just how it's supposed to be. Some of us would have a more complex, varied range, and some of us would just hold like one or two steady notes. But basically, what we do is we connect through the telepathic field of our third eye. We decide what it is that we want to create together, and then we arrange ourselves in groups that are a lot like choirs, and we produce organized, coherent, intentional sound together, and it's very powerful.
I agree.
And those sounds produce cymatic waves in the primordial substance of creation. And those primordial waves are like cymatic patterns. Like, if you know about cymatics, then you know what I mean. If you don't know about cymatics, then definitely look it up. It's fascinating. So we would just create this beautiful vibrational cymatic pattern out into the holographic matrix of this reality. And it's so powerful that we can like terraform this reality in a sense. We can terraform, like when I say that we created the pyramids, what it looks like to me, or any, you know, monolithic stone structure, anything that has us all stumped, like, how did the ancient primitive people ever create this? What we were able to do is function in these groups, produce sound, project it at these like big, huge slabs of rock, for example, bounce it off of that rock until we find the specific frequency that resonates with the atomic a molecular structure of that rock, and then we would create the pitch together that causes it to turn from solid into plasma temporarily, and it becomes feather light. And then we can change the shape of the rock. We can like elevate the rock and move it into place. And we don't ever need to touch it with our hands or our bodies or use tools. That's what I see as being our original divine blueprint as humans. And like I said, we're so far off. Like, I'm not saying anybody can do this right now. And if we were able to do it, most likely it would be very proficient singers with very well-developed throat chakras. And it would also probably more likely be created through instruments. But that is what I see in the Akashic Records. Like, we have a blueprint that is so unspeakably beautiful that it's like, it feels like an outrage and a tragedy that we are the way that we are right now. Like, when I look at it through the Akasha, it just feels like they have done so much evil to humanity, so much evil to shrivel us up and turn us into these unhappy, unhealthy, like toxically overloaded beings that are full of self-loathing and unprocessed trauma and, you know, abandonment wounds and all kind of stuff, right? That make us like waste our lives on pointless pursuits just because we feel like shit inside and we don't want to confront it.
I agree with everything you just said. You know, we can have a discussion of Tataria and what that is, and I'm on the fence with it, with what it represents and all that stuff. But one of the things is organs and these powerful organs that they used to have and how they used to use organs, which is vibration. We've had folks on that have talked about how vibrations, you know, tuning forks can fix people's ailments, right? If you do it the right thing, vibrations matter. And we've seen that forever. And the manipulation. So when you say like these higher vibrational singers can manipulate energy, I 100% believe that.
The cathedrals.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly where big ass fucking organs for what?
Yeah.
There has to be a reason they're making them that big.
Yeah, that's what I believe, 100%. 100%. But then you look at the invert of that, which is what they do with music right now. And like all the demonic shit they're putting in the music, like,
Totally.
you know, yeah, I mean, just, and it's listened to on a mass level. These are all rituals that these dark arts people are fully participating in. Most of them don't even know what they're doing.
No, I mean,
they're just doing what they think their bosses want.
I end up going to Coachella, and when I'm there, I'm like, yo, this is a ritual. Half these people don't know what's going on.
How old are you? You still go to Coachella?
I'm 30 years old.
Yeah. What do they call you, grandpa there? Who's grandpa's here?
Yeah, but you're there, and you're like, oh, this is a ritual. And none of these people know it's all demonic shit. And then they have like, you know, they have different artists, and like some of these have to be a ritual. Some of these have to be
I think Coachella. So I saw this video and it was like, you know, corporate plants that failed. They were like artists that were so obviously corporate plants that just never hit. And I think Coachella is the launching pad for all these guys because for some reason I was going over to Dana's family and they had the YouTube of Coachella playing on the screen. I've talked about this before. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, again, I might be the old man get off the lawn at this point, but I was like, what am I watching right here? And it's all like transhumanism, like everything's everything is techno, whatever they call it now. House.
I mean, I will say they said the same thing about Woodstock, I'm sure, but I mean, it seems like every generation with their music.
But Johnny, guess what? They were right. All those people were out.
But that's not my point. Is that's been the case for a long time.
Right. I'm just saying that this is where they try to launch these corporate acts that are just like 17-year-olds writing about how hard life is, and it's just like with all the advantages of that, and so that to me resonates with us. And it's just like, so, you know, Amy brought up all this stuff that they try to corral us into these low vibrational things. Again, we talk about OnlyFans, all that stuff, the internet. I mean, OnlyFans is just another part of the war on women. and this notion that you are feminist by doing things to get men to give you money and just the way it's put, like, look at every article's like, look at all the money this chick is making. All that is done to just make a war on female psyche. Because you talk about these OnlyFans, they're like, it gets lonely. Nobody wants to be your friend. Nobody invites you to parties. Sounds like a conspiracy theorist, but we'll keep moving. And it's just like your parents are embarrassed you. Sounds like a conspiracy theorist, right?
What's that statistic that after 30, if you don't have kids, half of those women won't have kids?
Yeah.
And a lot of the OnlyFans are in there getting to 30. And they don't want to have a man because no man wants them.
That gets into depopulation. Look at this Malachian depopulation movement that's going on to convince people. Because what people don't understand, and like, again, it's so sophisticated, the war on the family is like the destruction of the family unit, the destruction of the father figure has been done on purpose. It's just been done on purpose to make people think that this illusion that this life of the party is going to happen forever, right? I mean, it's just like, dude, it doesn't mean that nobody likes you, but it's just the cycle of life. I saw Maz Jobrani and his wife. I haven't seen his wife for 15 years. She's the nicest person ever. We love each other. First time we saw each other in 15 years. He's like, yeah, my kids are this. Dude, you start to focus on your family. But if you don't have that family, what happens to you? And then you're like, I got lied to. And now you become angry. Not at the people who lied to you, but the people who represent what you don't have. And you get so angry at that. And then you start lying to next generations because misery loves company.
I mean, I remember when you saw your friend at the airport, you were so happy because you can kind of relate. Even though his kid was way older, you would be like, dude, I'm going to be there one day. But if you didn't have kids, you would have been like, oh, nice to see you. Cool, your kid's in college. Oh, cool, I'm doing a show. Dude.
But yeah, I have 3-year-olds. He has 18-year-olds. Amy, any thoughts?
I mean, I agree with you. And I think that the reason that they attack the family structure is because the true source code of this reality is the Trinity. It's not the binary code. If we hold ourselves in, I mean, if you look at the Freemasonic checkerboard, that tells you everything right there. It's either black or it's white. Like you have two choices, right? And you see the way that it shows up in like so many of our things, like politics, whatever. Like you're encouraged to choose the extreme on this side or the extreme on that side. And all that does is maintain the binary system. And that really serves these dark consciousness. It embroils us in a bunch of pointless conflict, that like conflict with each other, with our loved ones, and then greater conflict, greater wars that do nothing to serve humanity and totally serve these dark fallen consciousness beings. But in reality, the true source code is the Trinity. It is the divine masculine, the divine feminine coming together, and the divine child. So it's masculine, feminine, child, masculine, feminine, child. That's the way everything is supposed to be. And I'm not a traditionalist. I don't have any comment about anybody's sexual orientation. I'm not suggesting that everybody is supposed to have families. And if they don't, if they don't breed and have children, that they're somehow like living in sin or disappointing God. I don't perceive it that way at all. Everybody has very different trajectories, but the family is a very, very, I'll use the word holy. It's a holy and divine unit of creation, and there's a reason that it's being attacked because it's extremely powerful. I'm not a student of other religions. I'm not a student of any religion. I was raised Christian, but by raised I mean like never read the Bible, and so that's kind of what my foundations are. But I do find it really interesting that Christ is very heavily attacked and very heavily mocked. And I don't
I'm
find
the same place.
And it's hard to talk about Christ. Like it's hard to talk about Christ consciousness. Personally, I feel like I'm constantly falling all over myself and all over my words, trying to not offend people or inflame anything or make it sound like I'm putting myself at the level of Christ or anything like that. And I think that's all by design. And also, I used to think Christianity was so lame when I was a teenager and in my early 20s. Like, I just thought it was like a bunch of old people going to church and like so boring and just nonsensical. And now looking back, I feel like a lot of that was by design so that, generations of youth would turn ourselves to more selfish, like base, self-fulfilling pursuits and not consider our spiritual development. And to me, what Christ represents is the ability to call the bluff of the matrix. It's the ability to align ourselves so completely with God, but also with like the totality of all creation, so that everything you're doing, and I'm not there, so I'm not trying to pretend I am, but everything that one is doing when one is in Christ consciousness is towards the betterment of all creation. It's just a win-win all around. Nobody is losing kind of thing. And I think that's a level of consciousness that's available to us. And I believe that is what Christ was coming to Christ was coming to show us how to be this, how to live. And this is where I'm like stumbling, because I know that there are like better scholars of the word of Christ that would argue me right into the ground, but it's a feeling I have in my heart that I don't believe that Christ is meant to be a savior in the sense that we're all just these helpless, lost souls waiting for the savior to come. That reminds me a lot of Q. It reminds me a lot of the Trump stuff. Like constantly waiting for a savior while not attuning ourselves to a higher level of consciousness feels like another distraction, another psyop. I believe that we all have the ability to calibrate to Christ consciousness, and more, even if perfection is not necessarily attainable for any of us. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But that's kind of to me, that's the goal. Like I don't know, that's what I strive for, is to just continually be more resonant in a Christ consciousness where I'm choosing myself for the light. I choose Christ. I do not choose the satanic fields. And, that plays out in a lot of tiny micro choices every day, but I want to be more light in the world than darkness.
I love it. I love all of it. I think it's great, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's where I'm at. So I don't know how much we've covered already, but so you're going through the Akashic records. What are you seeing about what we're going through? What's possible? Any of that stuff? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So I really believe that we're going through this ascension process, and it is inevitable, and it's so much bigger than any of us individually. So we really can't stop it. But we can try and resist it, and it's to our own detriment. It's kind of like when you have those experiences in life where just everything starts to go wrong and you're holding on desperately, trying to like keep it all going. And it just prolongs the suffering, when if you would just let go and let the transformation occur, then it will occur. I think that's happening on a collective level, which is why I think we are in the age of enlightenment. And I kind of agree with you, although I haven't read the book of Revelation. So I don't know about that prophecy, but I feel like we're leaving an age of intense darkness. We could move into another one. I don't really know. But what I feel and see in the Akashic records is that more and more people are coming to remember more of themselves, more of the truth. And I think that we are turning into a different version of humans, it's almost like being a different species, but not like turning into a cat or something like that. It's like human 2.0 or 5.0 or 10.0 or something like that. A lot of people are going such huge, profound transformation that they almost don't even have words for it, and relationships are falling apart. People are feeling called to like move to other parts of the world, and not just in response to all the COVID stuff that happened, but just for their own personal reasons. And I think that's because we're going through such a huge, profound transformation. And I just don't see that it's possible. Like, I truly don't. I think the light wins every time. The light wins. The darkness is a self-limiting system because it always has to feed off of something else. And the light is constantly self-regenerating. So I am optimistic about things. And I still see that like the journey is challenging for those who resist it, basically for people who want to hold on to the old ways. Like my dad really wants to hold on to the old ways, just wants to watch his shows on TV, does not want to be bothered with all this like really uncomfortable stuff. And there's going to come a point where he's not able to do that anymore without acknowledging that he's hiding from something. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. And they can hide it for only so long. They can hide, like, I'm sorry, but you want to talk multiple dimensions. Let's get in everybody's algorithm is creating their own dimension and what they believe in. It's allowing people not to hear information they don't want to hear. But at some point, it's going to be impossible to escape the truth of what's going on. And that, there's a lot of people who want to memory hole COVID and the vaccines, but at some point you're going to lose somebody you care. And I've lost people, not my immediate family. Thank God I have no clue how that happened, because my brother was the Paul Revere of COVID vaccines. Just like, get the vaccine, the virus is coming. And like, he was so ridiculous. He wanted to be a test dummy for it. I'm like, oh my God, bro. I mean, have I done any work in this realm at all? Done my own brother. But hey, free will, right? You're going to do what you want to do. But there's going to come a point where it's going to be impossible for them to ignore that they got lied to. And, I'm not somebody who wishes ill will. I don't want bad times, but there's going to be a couple things that happen here in the United States that people are going to have to pay attention to. And that is what's going to happen around our election. It's going to go back to chaos again. It's going to lead up to that because they don't want anybody voting.
Do you think riots and all that shit?
Yeah.
Like 100%?
Yeah. If I had to guess, I could be wrong, but I think this is the end of their run, and they're going to do whatever they can not to lose. But I think it's inevitable. And then the next thing will be like the United States dealing with the ramifications and the spiritual blowback of what we've allowed the cabal to do with our military. That day is coming as well. You cannot commit genocide on the rest of the world and not be held accountable for it. And I hope that we don't have to be treated like Germany, but we've allowed our military to be high. Maybe it was done purposely in terms of that. It was always that. But like these dark arts cabalists have taken over our military and used our military as their stormtroopers to bring pain and suffering to the rest of the world. Those things must be atoned for. That's my opinion. And it will happen. And hopefully it will be enough that we'll survive from it. So those are the things that I think are out there that people are going to have to come to grips with. You will not be able to run away from that. And if you sit here and you're crying about pronouns, you should thank America for that, because you live in a place where you can give fake names.
Oh, you don't know how many people I saw complaining about 4th of July yesterday.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You're like, are you kidding me? Just like, the Declaration of Independence was racist. How we celebrating 4th of July? Just typical shit where it's a victim mentality. Where I'm like,
Amy, they're addicted to that. They're addicted, because most of those people live in a world of comfort. Even if they're broke, they have weed, they have video games, they're they got booze. Even the brokest in America, maybe not homeless, but even some of the homeless people are out of shape. Fat people. I mean, I don't know how you get that big if you don't have any money to eat, but God bless you. You've done it. I'm not trying to mock them because I feel for those people. Even though there's a guy over here have you seen my family member died, give me money for the funeral service. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like there's no lower form of human being than begging for money for a fake dead person.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's a street person.
Yeah, it's so you get a lot when you leave LAX. You see all these teens that are holding up stuff like, "Hey, my friend died," and they just beg for money.
Yeah,
and they found that those are scams.
You think so?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Like,
Because
like,
they're there ever the same people. Like,
like a car wash funeral. They're always like, you have money for a car wash for a funeral? Then no one really died.
yeah. So that's low frequency behavior, and I just think that that the people that are yelling about now, there's things that yell about America, 100%, like we talked about with what they've used our military for, but that's never what they're talking about. What they have is a bunch of people who have to have purpose in their life. They have no purpose. Everything's been taken care of. They need purpose. Now they're fighting windmills by getting on their donkey and just charging at these windmills like Don Quixote. Well, he was on a horse, but the point is he's fighting these windmills that he's making into monsters. So you have these people crying about how hard life is while they're living in fat houses in a good life because they need purpose. Everything's taken care of. How come all these Antifa people are all rich kids? Because they have no purpose. Everything's taken care of. They got money in the bank. Their family set them up. They never had a hard day in their life. They need purpose. And that's how dude, it's like, so the Armenians were pushing against this trans stuff in Glendale, right? They're pushing up against it. Okay. And they said a busloads of Antifa people were coming. Do you think that just happens naturally? Like, have you ever tried to run an event, Amy? Have you ever tried to run an event? No. Do just people flock to it? Like, it's so hard to get 100 people anywhere.
We promote our shows a month in advance, trying to get people to go.
And then, like, we're lucky if 100 people show up. But these Antifa people showing up, you think that just happens? No, man. This is all dark arts trying to cause chaos.
Those are the same people that bring the bricks to the riots and shit. How do the riots how do the bricks show up?
Where do the bricks show up?
Yeah, where do the bricks show up? Who has just bricks laying around home?
But it's all Malachian, dude. That's my real belief. It's all Malachian. And it's all go on, sorry.
Well, just when you think about it, and like everything that you're saying, and the intricate web of what they've had to create in order to distract us from who we are and traumatize the shit out of us and get us embedded in addiction cycles and numbing behaviors and things like that. It's all because we're so powerful. Like, they have to work so hard to mentally break us and emotionally break us so that we don't remember how powerful we are. And I think a lot of the people that complain about, whatever, 4th of July stuff, pronoun stuff, whatever, a lot of them just don't want to accept their own shadow.
Yes.
So, like, they're good-hearted people, but they do not know how to cope with the intensity of this world, and they don't know how to accept the ways that they are part of the problem. Like, I believe that we're all part of the problem. There's no way out of that. There's no way out of being part of the problem. If you live here, you are involuntarily or voluntarily participating in the systems that, make this world shitty and cause suffering. But people can't accept that. And so they project outwards and they become, what is it? What's that term when they are, oh my God, why is it escaping me? When they're like accusing other people of being racist or being whatever, bigoted, as if they
projecting.
Are allies. Totally. They're just projecting it. And in projecting it, they are rejecting their own unintegrated shadow aspects of themselves that if they could just deal with and accept that, they're not perfect either and their shit stinks too, and just get on with being as good of a person as they possibly can without needing everybody to see it and congratulate them and validate it for them, then, we would, I don't know. I just think that there are so many programs that are meant to interrupt us when we're trying to become effective. So social justice warriors, that's what I was looking for. So somebody who is motivated by social justice has a good heart. Probably they actually care about the welfare of other people, but they don't know how to deal with the fact that they're integrated in a system that it causes them to be part of the problem. And instead of like doing the deep interpersonal work, like you were talking about earlier in the episode of like dealing with yourself and your internal stuff, they just project it outward, and they're like, I'm an ally, I'm on the side of the right, I'm a good person, you're all bad people. And it just perpetuates more of that duality. And that's where it comes back to like love being the solvent. If we can just like soften our resistance to all of this and take care of all that we have control over, which is just our own selves and our own vibration, our own perceptions, just take care of that and let everybody else take care of their own thing, then we can come into like a collective pattern of coherence. And I believe that's what's ultimately happening, but it's like fucking messy right now.
No, I'm with you. And there's a lot of fear, you know, there's just fear. And fear to speak out, fear to say something. And, you know, that was a big part of the psyop that was cancel culture. There's never real cancel culture. The people canceling everybody weren't power enough to do it. There's not enough blue-haired, non-binary, social justice warrior, Antifa people to really cancel anybody. But and this gets into Malachian deception, okay, which is that they are using, what they're doing is manifesting the belief, because even evil can use manifestation. Like, that's my belief. Like, all these high impact events like 9/11, those are used as rituals to get us to manifest that we need them to save us. That's all these 100%. Are about. That's what it's all about. So cancel culture was a traumatic thing because it made people feel if they weren't talking out that they would get fired. So they manifested the fear of cancel culture. They made it the shadow in the cave, that it was so much bigger than it really was. In reality, it was corporations pushing cultural Marxism to give the illusion of cancel, when in reality, it was just them firing somebody to give the illusion of the people doing it didn't do anything. It was the corporations giving the illusion of public pressure. There was never any public pressure. They weren't big enough to fuck their bottom line up. I mean, just take a look at what the right did with Bud Light. They lost how many billions of dollars and their stock went up. That's why, because now we know that Wall Street, and Johnny might agree or might not agree with this, I think it's a giant Ponzi scheme.
I totally think you're right. Yeah.
Okay, and that now the illusion is there that it is a Ponzi scheme. That when you lose $8 billion, your stock should go down. Theirs went up because of ESG scores, which has always been it. It's like, you ever see like these weird magicians or these like medieval festival gestures where they do this kind of like napkin thing where they keep lifting the napkin and the napkin flows. When it gets fallen, that's the stock market. There's just like, oh, hey, just keep lifting these up, and if I miss it, this one drops, and then everybody runs crazy.
So Tim Pool and everybody celebrating this ban, it was bullshit, didn't really hurt Bud Light?
The stock didn't go down for a very long time.
I mean, they lost a lot of money, and in the end, InBev is such a massive company that it didn't make much difference. Although I do think Bud Light, that brand, is trash.
No, I agree. Now. And they just completely handled it wrong. And the fact that the CEO stands by that just lets you know where the money's from.
Here's why they have to, though, because if they apologize for it, then they're screwing themselves with the blue hairs that you talked about.
Yeah, but the blue hairs don't buy enough Bud Light for it to matter.
But that screws them on the ESG front, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so again, it goes back to corporations.
It was idiotic. Like the decision was idiotic.
And the cultural Marxism, dark arts that they're pushing on us. It's all about deception and all about manipulation. And that's a manifestation from a dark angle. And the government and the lizard people can do that as well, right, Amy?
Do you think it was a sacrifice? Like, as you're talking about it, I'm kind of like, well, they probably achieved their objective, which was like, for one thing, there were probably many layers of the objectives, but to further push the trans thing, but also to further cause chaos and separation and alienation from a whole other demographic. You know what I mean? Like what? Because money means nothing to the fallen ones. Nothing. That's the whole joke about money, is they have us scrambling for, oh my God, money is a whole other topic, but they have us scrambling for pennies, like desperate, feeling victimized, feeling broke, having experiences of being victimized and broke. And to them, losing $8 million or $8 billion or whatever it was, it doesn't even matter, because that's not the actual currency. The currency is human attention and it's human manifestation. So they achieved their objective most likely. And they kind of like, of course they want to, it's beneficial for them to make money and amass money because money equals power. But they probably were just, they were like, like, you know, we can sacrifice this piece of our giant hoard of the pie in order to achieve this objective. And also, you know, probably even create more financial instability by making it transparent that the stock didn't take a hit in the way that it should have.
Well, I saw that with Netflix. Like Netflix, all these people were unsubscribing and the stock kept going up because the ESG people kept buying their stock to keep it up. So yeah, you're totally 100% right. And there is an objective. Demoralization and infighting. That is it. Because once you focus on that, you're not focusing on the dark arts Malachians and what they're doing to our society, the family unit, and the children.
When you say that they control the stocks, I also think they can control crypto.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Most people have no clue why it goes up and goes down. And when everybody celebrates, oh my, someone just did it the other day to me. Oh my God, BlackRock just bought a bunch of Bitcoin. Is that good?
Well, it's good if you want Bitcoin to stick around, probably, but it's not good if you want Bitcoin not to be influenced by evil.
Well, that's what happens. They buy a big chunk, and then when they want to destroy it, they sell it off, and boom, it goes back down.
And it didn't cost them anything because they just printed that money.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's the whole thing. When you say money isn't real
likely
to them, it's not real because it is Babylonian money magic.
Yeah,
I think it's more likely with Bitcoin that they take it over, though.
I mean, it's possible for sure. I don't trust any of these systems outside of let me give you 3 tomatoes for 1 chicken.
Barter, the barter system, old school.
Yeah. Here's
and like, I mean, when you think about it, everything that we are like, so much of what we put our attention on is false, fabricated. It's not real. Like we know that money isn't real, the tangible item. We know that coins are valueless because you can look at old currencies, like even like the francs from France prior to the introduction of the euro. Those don't have any value anymore, right? So the value is not in the physical tangible object. Also, the numbers that are in our accounts are completely arbitrary. We know that because the US dollar and the majority of the powerhouse global currencies are fiat currencies, meaning that they're not backed by gold or any tangible substance. So the value is a fucking fabrication. It's an illusion. And the same is true in my perception for Bitcoin. And I think a lot of, or not just Bitcoin, all cryptocurrencies, but I'm not saying people shouldn't go for cryptos or anything. I'm just saying, like, they get us so distracted by, it's like a veneer. Like the form of currency is a veneer. It's not a real thing. What is the actual energy behind money and wealth? It's resources. It's the currency of our attention. It's our ability to manifest and create from the raw materials of this realm, needing nothing but our bodies, food, water, the air, and the environment, right? Like we are surrounded, we're in a bountiful world that is full of the actual resources that matter. And we're all fighting with each other over a fake resource that isn't even real. It isn't real. And it's like scarcity programming, lack programming. None of that is even real. It's all fabricated so that we can never actually become so we can never self-actualize as humans into the fullness of our power, so that we're constantly just like wasting our lives working for $1 and like, I got to pay rent just like everybody else. You know, I'm in this system too, but I can just see it so clearly for what it is. It is Babylonian money magic. It's all a facade. It's not real. And we have to, like, the thing is, nobody's going to come save us. We have to unplug ourselves from these things. And I think that's why a lot of people are wanting to migrate back into nature. And also, I know that some people are just city people. They aren't necessarily like meant to go off grid, but we're feeling called to go back into nature because nature is a representation of truth and what is true. And everything that they have created within society and culture is laced with distortion. There is also truth to it, but there's a ton of distortion. And most of us just like waste our lives chasing after highs that aren't even real and don't mean anything.
I concur 100%. They get us to focus on the wrong stuff. And it's just like, just the farther you get away from God and nature, the more your anxiety goes up, the more your depression goes up, the more your anger goes up, all that stuff, because you're getting away from your natural path. And all that modern society does to you is convince you to do things that keep you on the wrong path. Take these drugs, numb yourself out so you can continue to go down a path that is not right for you. And that's it. And like, dude, again, this is what I talk about. This is Von Galt told me, and it resonates me. The universe warns you, and then it shows you. If you don't hear the warnings or you ignore them, it's going to show you, and you may not come back from that. And that's my humble opinion. Amy, great show as always. Sorry we got to go a little short. Daddy's got to get back to home for some personal stuff. But one more time, Amy, can you tell us where they can find you, your podcast, and anything else?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sam. My podcast is Third Eye Awakening, available on all podcasting platforms. My website is amybelair.com and my Instagram is cosmic.oracle. So thank you so much for having me. It was just a really big pleasure and honor to be in a conversation with you guys for the last little while.
Amy, we love having you on. You have a open door to our show. It's always a pleasure, and it was good to have a fun conversation with you about everything. So thank you guys very much for staying with us. Again, as always, our show is, we're going to do a little breakdown of our affiliate programs for you, and then we're going to have some highlights from some of my other shows, Cash Daddies, Broken Sim, and hopefully Conspiracy Social Club. We wanted XG to go on there, but he's too lazy, so he doesn't do it. Again, go to samtripoli.com, get dates. We got to get Comedy Chaos up there. Comedy Chaos on the 11th, Boise, Idaho on the 28th, July 29th, I'm in Ventura, and then we're working on August 12th. We have the Connecticut, and then we also have August 13th. We're going to work on a New York City day. Thank you again, Amy. Enjoy these highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. California man creates AI chatbot to waste the time of telemarketers. See, it's not all bad. You can ignore calls from unknown numbers. You can hang up immediately when you hear a recorded telemarketing message, or you can use a chatbot to mess with them. That's what one California man is doing with his ChatGPT-powered tool. Roger Anderson, Hero, operates a subscription service called Jolly Roger, and several thousand customers pay him about $25 a year to use his product of, quote, mass distraction, the Wall Street Journal reports. The goal is to keep a telemarketer or scammer on the line just to frustrate them and waste their time for trying to waste yours.
I love it.
It's just AI, dude. AI talking to these telemarketers.
Isn't that what Elon Musk has said? You're going to need an AI to defeat an AI. That's basically what he's doing, right? He's using AI.
Yeah, totally.
Chat box.
Here's this guy.
Well, hello there. Jolly Roger Anderson here with the Jolly Roger Telephone Company. I make robots that talk to telemarketers, and today I am recording this video very early in the morning Pacific time because an article just dropped in the Wall Street Journal about...
Here's one where it talks to a telemarketer. Here we go. Here's an example.
Hi, this is Sean Harris, and I'm calling you.
Oh, that sounds like a Sean Harris, doesn't it?
How are you doing today?
Hey, life is good with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, ma'am. Thanks for asking. The
Yeah.
reason for my call is to inform you about new low-cost final expense insurance program, which have been recently approved in the state of Texas, man.
That's great.
And we are helping out the people who are paying a lot of money with their final expense insurance. We are providing free information, free quotations for themselves for the comparison purposes. So how old are you, ma'am?
You won't believe what just happened to me. I won a local talent show, and I'm just over the moon. Have you ever participated in a talent show with Hidden Talent?
Well, that's great, ma'am. I used to participate in Dubai when I was in Dubai from 20.
That's like me on the phone with my girlfriend. You know, she starts going on too much.
I was working over there, and
I'm watching baseball.
Over there for dancing. And
Sure.
I didn't want it. Actually.
Yeah, babe, your coworker sounds like a real bitch.
Sure.
Congratulations for you, well, ma'am. It's a good day to you. And the one more congratulation that you received my call, and we are just providing you some free quotation which can save you some good money, man.
Sure.
This is great.
So for the qualifying purposes, I need to ask you a couple of questions. I'm pretty sure it's just a general information like how old are you?
Sure.
So, may I know what's your age?
You know, I just won a local talent show, and I've been thinking about how to celebrate. Maybe this insurance program could be a part of my celebration plan. Can you tell me more about it? Like, what kind of benefits does it offer? And do you think it would cover the cost of a big party?
Ma'am, actually, it depends on the client. Like, you are the one decide how much coverage you need. We provide 5,000 in coverage plan. We provide 10,000 in coverage and the 20th as well.
Best.
So
this guy's a hero.
As you know, ma'am, if
this guy's a hero, dude.
I'm doing well. Thank you.
You just got me with it,
I
by
was
the way.
thinking about my old college days. What time that was. Did you go to college, Patricia? What was your major?
Dude, you know how much funnier this could be if he made it like dirty? You know, just a little bit like, dude, I was just thinking about like the first guy I had sex with in
see
college.
if he has any more.
Oh, dude, I'm sure he's got millions of them. Let's see.
Yeah, get
Hey
to
everyone,
it. We don't need to hear
this
him.
is Roger Anderson.
Hey,
we know,
we're going to give you guys...
Medicare has upgraded
Wait, is this Shiva? Is this Dr. Shiva?
security policy, so they are sending everybody a new Medicare card, which is black and white color with the golden chip on it. So you are also getting the new Medicare card, okay? So sir, do me a little favor. Can you please just go and grab your old red, white and blue Medicare health insurance card for me? I'm just holding on a line because I just need to confirm your Medicare card issue date, only just the date of the card, okay? I'm saying issue date. I need your old Medicare card issue date, only just the date of the card, okay? Hello?
I'm so glad you called. You know, I've been thinking a lot about President Biden's policies.
What?
But first, could you tell me more about the American Federation of Teachers? I'd love to hear about your organization's history and some of your most memorable achievements. I've got all the time in the world.
By the way, stop. This is like talking to my father, by the way.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Huh. Sam, have you thought about becoming a substitute teacher? That's the email we're talking about.
Dude, I used to think that was like the perfect job, substitute teaching.
Oh, I would just get fired. I would just be choking people out. All right, guys, thanks for listening to the show. We appreciate it. Real quick, we want to tell you about our affiliate, some of these companies we have affiliate programs with that we think are important for you and you surviving the zombie apocalypse. We have Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. I am a part of their Wise Wolf package. They do different increments of money per month. You buy it. They send you precious metals. They have all the way up to $500. It's a great way to collect precious metals. It's a great way to put your money in, and a great way to get ready for if the financial markets collapse. We also have our good friends at Aqua Cure Hydrogen Brown Gas. Everybody who gets it loves this. As you know, we don't have a lot. What is it? Nitrous? No.
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. That's right. Hydrogen. in our air, and this helps get you back to it. As some say, reverses the aging process.
A lot of good feedback from
Everyone loves it. I'm setting up mine now, so please check it out. That's click the links, and people have gotten it, have loved it. We also have our good friends at Harley Ray Crystals and Candles. We love them very much. They're wonderful people, and they have all the spiritual tools you need are there, whether it's candles for burning sage, quartz, crystals, you name it. We love them. We love working with them. And if you use Swarm 15, you get $15% off your ads. And finally, we have two more. Joel Staley. I lost a lot of weight. I'm doing this hard 75. I think I'm going to ease in to the fasting program. But Joel Staley helped me lose a ton of weight, and I want you to check out his videos. He loves helping people get in shape, lose 20 to 50 pounds of fat in 90 days. You can do it because I did it. I hope you guys try it out. And then our friends at Legal Shield. If you need legal help, they're a great way to a monthly fee. You get access to legal people that help you with business, legal plans, business builders, you name it. Charlie Robinson from Microaggressions hooked us up with this guy, and we're very excited about it. So, Mike, what?
Macroaggressions.
Is it a macro? Sorry,
Microaggressions is the real thing.
Okay, macroaggressions. I love Charlie. Check it out right there, and it's a great way. All those are wonderful affiliates that will help you in your time of need when everything hits the fan. So enjoy that. Now listen to these highlights from some of my favorite shows I do, plus anything XG does. Enjoy the highlights.
Check out this clip from the latest Cash Daddies.
When I was teaching 4th grade at the time, and we had a bet at Thanksgiving. We're all sitting around getting shit-faced, and we had a bet. And I was 165 pounds. And they all bet me that from Thanksgiving to New Year's Eve, I couldn't gain 30 pounds. And I'm like, all right, but I'm going to need help. And the guy that ran the restaurant said, every day you can come up, I'll give you as many wings as you want and draft beer. He goes, you got to. So I would get done teaching at 4:00 and I'd go to Buffalo Wild Wings. That was the name of it. I'd walk in.
Hold on. It was Buffalo Wild Wings before Buffalo Wild Wings.
It was the original. Yeah. This was in Statesboro, Georgia. It was Buffalo Wild. It was one of the first
I love how you said that like we've never heard of Buffalo Wild Wings. It was like called
Buffalo Wild Wings is everywhere, bro.
Well, back then it wasn't, man. This is
You're like, I went to this little place called Domino's Pizza.
Well, that comes into a second because here's what I would do. I would run up at 4:00 and they would start giving me pitchers of beer and I would start eating wings. I wouldn't crush them. I would eat them like over the course of 4 to 5 hours. Then I would order a pizza at home. I would go home and I would eat as much as I could before bed. And I'm not shitting you. I'm not making this up. I was 175 November 25th. January 2nd, I got on the scale. I was 211.
So you won by losing. Is that what happened? You won by losing?
How much money was this? How much money did they bet you?
That's the worst.
It was $300.
$300?
$300 for diabetes.
So listen, getting that weight off, I got it off by April. I literally my head got this big. People didn't recognize me. I had no neck.
Of course.
You
look like you got the downs.
I saw my dad. My dad goes, I got it. You got to do something. He goes, Howard, he goes, fucking look at you. You've let yourself go.
Yeah.
I was like 25 years old.
Yeah.
So, Sam, what I did was I literally, every day for lunch, I would eat a salad and granola bars. And I would go home and just run as far as I could. I got up to like 5 miles. But I'm going to tell you, it took me 30-something days to gain 45 pounds. It took me 4 months of running every day and eating grass to lose it.
Yeah.
It was fucking horrible. It was the worst thing I've ever gone through, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is the worst story I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
I mean,
for $300, dude.
For $300, you almost killed yourself.
Yeah, you do stupid shit in your 20s.
I love how you like I love how you were like, I'm not lying. I got up to 210 pounds. Like, we didn't believe that eating like a fat fuck for fucking 3 months that you wouldn't get giant, dog.
You got. I mean, I get it. These actors out there, making millions of dollars to gain a few pounds here or there. You made $300.
Yeah.
$300 I did it for. And they took a picture of me from here up, and they put it on the refrigerator. And I'm not shitting you. There wasn't an offensive lineman at University of Nebraska that looked as big as me. My neck was like this.
Poor dude.
It was just ridiculous, man. I mean, I haven't gained that much weight. Well, the pandemic I did. That was, but that was excusable.
So
Sam,
what do you like?
I have a story, Sam, that you will love if you want to hear it.
I would like to hear it.
BlackRock CEO Larry Fink has spent years reminding investors that they should consider responsible environmental, social, and governance practices when evaluating companies. But he now refuses to use the word ESG any longer, saying it has been misused by the far left and the far right. I'm not blaming one side or the other, but it has totally been weaponized, Fink said on Sunday at the Aspen Ideas Festival, according to media reports. What do you think about that, Sam? Has ESG been misused and misbranded by
well,
the right?
Here's the problem. Like, people found out, and now he's like trying to backtrack on it. And, I guess Texas or Florida pulled out their money now, just like some of those smaller southern states were doing it. Well, I guess Florida has done it, and you're seeing other states do it. And I honestly believe that Larry Fink will take the fall on everything, because now people are starting to go, I'm sure there's people going, hey, man, we're losing like billions of dollars doing your bullshit. You told us this would be good for our investment.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.